We're less than 90 days from Election Day. Hillary Clinton has a double-digit lead in the latest Monmouth University poll. Clinton has the support of 46% of registered voters compared to 34% for Donald Trump. This coming as even McMillan, a former CIA operative, enters the race as an independent candidate. He spoke to the Kelly File last night. Watch this.
Donald Trump keeps saying terrible things that alienates large swaths of the population. He's wholly unfit. I think, in fact, he's dangerous to the country. And by the way, he is not a conservative. The idea that Donald Trump is a conservative is a complete farce.
So can unifying the GOP help Donald Trump turn things around? I want to bring in Ellis Henican, a political analyst, and Lisa Boothe, a Republican strategist. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Maria.
Ellis, your takeaway, now we've got this independent coming out and calling Donald Trump dangerous as well.
Well, I think he's likely to get a total of somewhere between 6 and 7 votes across America. He's not going to be a huge factor in the race.
Yeah, right.
But, Maria, he does reflect something, which is that an awful lot of segments of what was traditionally the Republican political coalition is thumbing its nose at Donald Trump. Republican Congress people, business leaders, people in the intelligence community. A lot of people just say, no, I'm a Republican, but I don't want that guy.
Right. Yeah, but Lisa Boothe, maybe that's actually helpful him because, as he stated yesterday, this is the establishment, this is the elites, and in people's minds, they're the problem. Some people's minds.
Well, exactly, and I think he should just continue to cast them aside because I don't think they're going to have any bearing in this general election. And if you look at the polls, you look at the tracking polls like the LA Times and Reuters, they actually have this race as a statistical tie. And I think that Donald Trump having a couple bad weeks here is actually the best thing that could happen to his campaign. Because when you have a stubborn candidate like Donald Trump, sometimes getting your teeth knocked in is the best thing to force directional changes that need to happen. And let's look at some of those directional changes. His campaign has hired Cambridge Analytica. They were behind the Brexit vote and identifying first-time voters, turning those voters out. He actually beat Hillary Clinton in direct contributions, a 69% increase in small dollar donations, which needed to happen and actually should be a sweet spot for his campaign. After not having been up on television, you look at Hillary Clinton and her allies have spent about $235 million collectively. They're finally looking into prices and potential going up into 17 different states with ad buys. So I think these are directional changes that needed to happen for the campaign and need to happen for him to win a general election.
That's a really good point, actually. All right, we got to talk about primary day in Wisconsin, everybody, and a few other states, of course. The most high-profile contest is House Speaker Paul Ryan. He's vying for the 10th term against challenger Paul Nehlen. Lisa, will Donald Trump's delayed endorsement impact these results? What's your takeaway on this primary happening today in Wisconsin for Paul Ryan?
No offense to the Donald, but I don't think his endorsement really moves the needle here.
Okay.
Paul Ryan was up by 66 points in a poll. I think he's going to be fine. He hasn't taken his eye off the district like Eric Cantor did when he lost.
What about the panel? What do you think?
Paul Ryan will not be cantered. Why don't we say that right now?
He will not be cantered.
You know,
so you think he'll win? He'll win this primary easily?
He will, but mostly because the opponent is just too far out there. He's not a plausible congressman.
I also think it's been a little bit sensational the way this whole thing has been handled, to say like Paul Ryan's at risk, the whole Republican Party is in disarray. Because this isn't really a proof point of that. I think that Paul Ryan's going to be just fine, and he's so far ahead in the polls that you can't imagine why this even was a story.
What I find so interesting about this primary and the others is not what it says about Paul Ryan, but what it says about Trumpism. So Trump is a candidate who's getting a lot of attention, but are we seeing a lot of other mini-me's of Donald Trump out there? People who are embracing his agenda and advancing on it, and I don't see it. We certainly don't see it in the Paul Ryan case.
That's not true. That's not true, though, because we saw even yesterday with the release of Donald Trump's economic plan, you have people like Senator Perdue and multiple members of Congress that actually put out statements endorsing the economic plan, saying that this is the only pro-growth plan that any of the candidates have offered this economy that has seen 1.2 economic growth, and President Obama, who's going to go down as one of the worst presidents for economic growth in our history of this great nation. So there was actually endorsements of those economic policies.
Can you name a candidate out there who has embraced Trumpism and his attacks on trade and his other policies?
You're saying a candidate.
A candidate who is, who's trying to ride the Donald Trump coattails into a seat. Name the person out there who's doing that.
well, everyone's going to be specific to their congressional district of the state. That actually would be poor form for any candidate running in a state that is geographically different than, you know, the various other parts of the country to run a campaign that mimics Donald Trump. But you look at Paul Ryan.
Didn't Ronald Reagan have that?
Hold on. No, but even President Obama didn't have that, please. But look, you look at Paul Ryan has even reiterated some of Donald Trump's rhetoric when it comes to trade policy. So, yes, you're seeing candidates sort of embrace some of the rhetoric that Donald Trump's talking about, and that's just categorically untrue.
Wait a second. I mean, the reality of this is we are in a unique position right now with the number of Republicans who have tried to create clear distance between themselves and the party nominee. This is not normal. This is a sign of a nominee that a lot of people in the party have strong reservations about.
Well, you do have that kind of division, though, within the Democratic Party, too. I mean, you remember the convention and all of those Bernie Sanders supporters
but they're
out there.
all singing together now, pretty much.
Yeah, you think they are singing together?
Yeah.
I think that was very well orchestrated, so it seemed that way. But when you were there, the people who had signs that were taken away from them, the number of protesters, the number of people who still say they're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton that are Bernie Sanders supporters, I think there's still a lot of division there. And she's being pulled left.
And Lisa, it's Sandra. I just wonder what your comment is on the trend with independents right now, because this Monmouth University poll that has Hillary Clinton among registered voters with a 12-point lead right now. Independents, 32% supporting Trump, 30% supporting Hillary Clinton. Trump had a larger lead there not long ago. Is that trouble for Trump?
No, I mean, look, we're so far out from Election Day that anyone that is saying this race is over, either, you know, they're doing a great disservice if they're in the media, or it's just dangerous for the Democratic Party to view this race. I mean, Lee can attest to this as well, but we are so far out. As I mentioned before, if you look at the tracking numbers from LA Times and Reuters, they have this race as a statistical tie right now. I think that this is a unique election. Every day there's some sort of breaking news that's going to shape voters' influence or opinions for that day. So you know, and you also, you look at the rise of independence in this country as well, and people sort of, you know, considering themselves independents. Donald Trump has been typically doing well with those people, but it's just so early.
All right.
Just keep doing what you're doing. That's all we can ask.
We will
keep
see.
doing it.
Ellis Henican, Lisa Boothe, good to see you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.